Dobar den, почитувани гледачи. Ова е емисијата Македонско издание, која што се емитува секоја втора сабота во 1 час од попладне на Роджерс телевизија на каналите 10, 63 и во High Definition 510. Јас сум Победа Пискачева, уредникот и водителот на оваа програма, која што, како што сите ни велите, со нетрпение очекувате во вашите домови. Ова е 389-та емисија на Македонско издание, која што ќе се репризира 3 пати во вторник на 13 декември во 5:30 попладне, во сабота на 24 декември во 1 час од попладне и во четврток на 27 декември повторно во 5:30 попладне. Нашата наредна нова емисија во следната година ќе се емитува во сабота на Божик, 7 јануари во 1 час од попладне. Како што знаете, почитувани гледачи, во последната емисија од годината, покрај редовната програма, емитуваме честитки за новогодишните и божичните празници до вас од наши македонски бизниси и поединци кои живеат во Торонто и околината. Но на самиот почеток нашата редовна програма. Меморијалот за Алекс Джигеров, организиран од Канадското македонско историско друштво и Канадското македонско место, се одржа на 18 септември годинава во Џорџ Игнатиев театар во Торонто. Во неколку претходни емисии емитувавме делови од овој настан, се со цел да ви го представиме овој голем македонец, кој скоро 40 години живееше во Нова Скошија и кој беше интегрален дел од животот на многу луѓе. Во продолжение проследете дел од говорот на некој од нив.
I've met some wonderful people, and one of them is Chris Stoyanovich. Come on up, Chris.
This cap has huge significance for more reasons than one. I really had to follow that man my entire life. On behalf of my family, especially Andre, where's Andre? Put your hand up. Who I'm now getting to know again, Alex's son. And my mother, Vera Stoyanovich, who is here proudly today to see her late brother and her lifelong best friend, and you have to underline that, lifelong best friend, celebrated. I thank you for your attendance and interest in my uncle's life. And like John, I'd like to thank all of the speakers and all of the sponsors. Canadian Macedonian Place, Jenny Evans, thank you, Jenny. Another friend of Alex and running the Canadian Macedonian Historical Society, who will kindly accept donations to help promote the idea of Macedonian history and Macedonian life. And then finally, John, who I've met before, but he and I reacquainted ourselves as we went over photo after photo and albums that Andre had sent down. And perhaps that's the best place for me to start today. Reviewing the photos page by page. With John, started to peel back the layers of my own life. The early photos, Gillespie, 6 Gillespie. After Niagara Street, after that little street and the little road. Sorry, it disappeared? Oh, sure, I can. I'm never asked to not speak loudly. My wife will testify to that. So I'll speak into the mic. The early photos of him at 6 Gillespie, my Dedo and Baba's home in West Toronto, that Alex shared, or we shared for a time with Alex, my late Aunt Ann and my cousin Diane later, really represents a very proud time in all our lives. As Alex, sorry, I keep on having to remember to speak into this and not wander. As Alex said, a little row house on Niagara Street, about this wide, with an abattoir at the end of the street, and the city incinerator. And I heard stories about what it was like to live with other Macedonian families on that street, where children were born in their homes, as my Uncle Alec described, on the kitchen table, on the linoleum floor. But it represented a very proud time in my family's life. They were moving away from Niagara Street, and they now a new home on Gillespie. And like the family's move, Alec's life and academic career started to reflect that climb upward. Somewhere there's a picture of Alec as student school president at Western Tech when he went there in the Bloor West part of the city. These pictures that you see behind you, probably Diane and a few others, my mom will remember where they were taken. Graduation picture standing in front of a window was really a sun porch where Alec had his office. It was off a bedroom on the second floor at Gillespie. John, if you can just roll back slightly, just to the picture of the graduation picture with my Derokire. Is that the one? That's the one, yeah. And there's others there as well. This was 1952 in this very campus. And it represented, it was a very proud and significant time in my family's life. It also represented a very significant financial sacrifice for his parents and his three sisters. From there, his academic career, and most of you probably know it, Osgoode Hall law degree, subsequently a master's in criminal psychology from the Clark Institute here at the University of Toronto, then a PhD from the London School of Economics in England in the early 1970s. And when I told my high school friends in the 1960s, my Uncle Alec was doing research in sexual practices, they seemed extremely interested at the time, until I told them that sexual deviations in the criminal mind was one of his major theses. They were less interested at that point in time.
Criminal law, Chris.
Criminal law. Criminal law. And like some rich man's son, which he clearly was not, the photo albums reminded me of his travels. And Mom reminded me that, you know, he, unlike a poor man's son, he looked at as himself as something extremely different. He traveled. He traveled to England, he traveled to Scotland, to France and Italy and Macedonia. And it was in those travels, I'm sure, where he enriched his own life and his passion for the arts. There were day trips to this university 60 years ago, to Victoria College, to Osgoode Hall, where my mother said, take your nephew to the University of Toronto, maybe he'll learn something. And away I went with him to meet his friends and his fellow students, where he just opened up and hoping, you know, with a wide range of discussions and topics of discussions, he hoped to transfer some of his experience and knowledge to his young nephew. My first solo weekend train trip, Mom will remember this, packed me off on the train to Whitby, where he first practiced criminal law. And there, at 10 years old, he painted a family portrait that hung proudly in my family's home for over 50 years. And that's it, John, perfect. You know, I asked John to bring this photo up because as I was scanning those photos that day in my office with John, I said, you can already begin to see in this man's eyes and his demeanor that he knew he wasn't going to be anchored behind a desk. That wasn't Alec Jigaroff. He was never destined to be desk-bound, where he might be limited in terms of his personal point of view or his scope of work. You saw him on that stage, you know, the philosopher, the historian, the criminal lawyer. I mean, it was all wrapped up in one big bundle of energy. You know, and I rode on those coattails for 60, until he passed away this year, 67 years of my life. And there were always day trips to the art gallery, where he loved, you know, to interpret for you what the artist was saying, you know, and what the artist was trying to express. What he wanted to do, and I don't know who, you know, how many other people in this room had those kinds of trips, but he wanted to open your eyes to all of life's possibilities as expressed by all the different artists. And then there was always telephone calls or kitchen table conversations, especially those with my late father, Don. Two men, and I had to mention my father here, two men who really approached life from different ends of the spectrum. My father, born in 1921, 10 years before his brother-in-law, very traditional Macedonian family, didn't have money to go to school, went to work. And my father took that philosophy, and that was the thing that really was the most important thing to him, about having a job. Having come here in 1935 in the middle of the Depression, a job was the most important thing. And there he had his brother-in-law who, well, I paint a little bit, I talk to, I give lectures on Macedonian history, thanks, brother-in-law. And on they went about, you know, the value of working and the value of not working and the value of being unlimited in terms of your scope or your interest in life or what you might say. That was Alec. That was my father. And talking to Alec was like some kind of an Olympic event. Intellectually, it was a high jump. I'm sure many people had that experience. Desperately trying to keep up with him. The next idea. A boxing match. If you had a different opinion of him, even over the telephone, as John stared at you like, where are you coming? What book did you read? Who are you quoting? You know, we had those kinds of discussions. And then finally a marathon, because it went on forever. At the kitchen table, on the telephone, trips to Yarmouth, trips to Ottawa. The discussions went on and on and on. This is the tough part for me. Someone once said, if you live long enough, life starts to take things away from you. We sadly lost my father almost 3 years ago, now Alec. But for me, there's no real ending here. Both men had a profound and lasting impact, and will continue to have a lasting impact on my life. Alec always said, never ask me to take it easy or take care. Instead, ask me to live dangerously. And he did live dangerously at times. And Andre, I think, is going to speak to that. So Alec, by now, I can imagine you've already upset a few people in heaven. You've painted the gates to heaven in Macedonian colors with a starburst proudly displayed for all to see. And I'm sure by now you've convinced God that Macedonians are really the chosen people. Thank you.
Alex Jigarov's memorial is happening today, and we are talking to Dr. Chris Stefanovic, who we assume knew Alex.
Yes, I knew Alex very well. We did a lecture together in 1992. It was called Baba Was a Doctor, and we spent hours organizing it and dealing with that through the Canadian Macedonian Health Professionals and the Historical Society. And that's when I got to know Alex very well. And as a result, we've maintained contact over the years. In fact, you know, I talked to him until the very end almost. So he was a very interesting individual.
Actually, one of his career was medicine, right?
Well, he was on the faculty of psychiatry because of his legal issues when he passed or wrote the laws that eventually became enshrined in the Canadian Constitution. So because he was on the faculty of psychiatry, and because he was such a colorful, proud Macedonian, we actually, the Canadian Macedonian Health Professionals, chose him to be our first honorary member of our association in 1992. So he was very thrilled with that.
He has also written one of the books that we know now, Baba's Red Socks. Why is this book important for the younger generations and generations that will come, like with Macedonian heritage born here in Canada?
In 1992, Alex wrote, remember this is all after independence, he wrote Baba's Macedonian Socks, the first edition, the first printing. And in fact, I was a pretty strong supporter of that. I bought a number of those, and I had always 2 or 3 sitting in my waiting room as a doctor. And Alex was very thrilled to find out that all the people in Etobicoke knew about Baba's socks. So we got to spend more time talking, etc., during the 1990s. and he had sold out his first edition. And I spoke to him, and my cousin Virginia Evans also, she was bugging him to reissue the book, but he kept saying, I don't have any money, I don't have any money. So I jumped in and said, I will help to sponsor the book. And then then Alex, in his typical manner, said, no, you should not do it all by yourself. Treba da budeme zajedno. And that's when I then went and spoke to some of my colleagues, other doctors, and other members of their community, Canadian Macedonian Place, Dr. Malin, Dr. Marco, and Angelo Argiro, who was representing the Canadian Macedonian Restaurateurs Association. So we raised the same amount of money, but we did it as a group. And that's when we forced him to issue the second edition, which is what is now being sold.
Now, I know it's very difficult to ask you this question. What is the one thing that stands out that you will remember about Alex Jigerov?
His color. That's why I'm wearing my very colorful outfit today, because of Alex. But the other thing is he was a very, very colorful, very happy individual. Every time I spoke to him on the phone, we called each other once every month or so. Every time you'd hang up the telephone call, you would then understand that you would feel happy, because he would always sing and everything else like this on the phone. So he always gave you a happy feeling every time you spoke to him. So that was the big thing about Alex.
А сега во продолжение да проследиме една музичка numera.
Како патување, секој ден изненадување. Љубовта е моја сенка, малку страв и малку среќа. За кого сонуваш, со кого патуваш, со кого зборуваш, за кого тагуваш. Ти силата си моја, јас пред насминатото го бришам. Воздухот мој си ти и секој стих јас за тебе го дишам. Ти силата си моја, јас пред насминатото го бришам. Воздухот мој си ти и секој стих јас за тебе го дишам. Еден ден илјада години, исто е кога знам што си ми. Љубовта е како отров, еднаш лек, друг пат си готов. За кого сонуваш, со кого патуваш, со tvoj stih, ja za tebe go dišam.
А сега во положение, почитувани гледачи, да проследиме неколку новогодишни и божични честитки. Петар и Марко Јановски, собствениците на Јановски Country Tops, им ги честитаат новогодишните и божичните празници на сите своји роднини и деловни пријатели и на сите македонци, пожелувајќи им среќа, радост и благодет. Власниците на оптичкиот дуќан Бол Vision заедно со своите фамилии им ги честитаат новогодишните и божичните празници на сите своји клиенти, посекувајќи им благодет и просперитет во наредните 12 месеци. Јулија и Славе Димитрови им ја честитаат 2017 година и божичните празници на својата фамилија и на целиот македонски народ, посекувајќи им добро здравје, радост, среќа и просперитет во наредната година. Васил Кајчевски од Town and Country Volkswagen им ја честита новата година и божичните празници на сите клиенти и на целиот македонски народ, пожелувајќи им добро здравје, просперитет и исполнување на сите желби во годината што следува. Стоматологот доктор Нада Ивановски од Мисисага им ги честита престојните празници на сите своји пациенти и им пожелува остварување на сите нивни желби во 2017-та. Кони Паркинсон со своите синови Джордж и Паул им ја честитаат новата 2017 година и божичните празници на сите македонци каде да се наоѓаат, со желба следната година Македонија да продолжи по патот на просперитетот и на тамошната афирмација. Васко и Лилја Рисковски од Васко Инженеринг им ја честитаат новата година и божичните празници на целата своја фамилија во Канада и во Македонија, како и на сите своји клиенти и пријатели со желба за добро здравје, просперитет и исполнување на сите нивни желби во годинава што следува. На сите мои клиенти кои имаат купено животно осигурување преку мене им ја честитам новата 2017 година и Божик и им пожелувам добро здравје, среќа и радост во годината што следува. Вашата грижа за својата фамилија ја поддржува и оваа програма и за тоа ви благодарам. Управата и вработените во канадскиот македонски дом во Торонто им пожелуваат на сите своји станари и на сите македонци среќна нова година и весел Божич со следната музичка изведба.
Just as good if you check off my Christmas list. Santa baby, I want a yacht, and really that's not a lot. I've been an angel all year, Santa baby, so hurry down the chimney tonight. Santa honey, there's one more thing I really do need, the deed to a platinum mine, Santa honey, so hurry down the chimney tonight.
Почитувани гледачи, тоа е се што подготвивме за оваа 389-та празнична емисија на македонско издание, инаку последна во оваа година. Ова емисија можете да ја следите и на интернет на www.MacedonianEdition.TV. До Божик, 7 јануари 2017 година, кога повторно ќе се видиме, ви благодарам за вашето ценето внимание, пријатно, довидување и среќна нова година.